People have asked, you talk about books so much. What drives you? And what's the importance of having a reading culture? Like I said in the last broadcast, books have totally changed my life. There's no problem you're going through right now that's unique to you. Somebody else has had a problem somewhere, and they have fixed it. And so, when I see a book, every problem, every question I have is in some book somewhere. And that's why it's important to develop a culture. And I'll tell you how I read. I take a chapter, I read it. I don't try to read the whole book at a sitting, but I read like 5 books at a go. So take a chapter, read it through, and then I shut the book, and then I meditate on the things I have read and see if what I'm able to recollect. Then I begin to take notes without opening the book again. And the kind of notes I take, what have I remembered? What am I going to do different? And I think that's important. This is where a lot of times we miss out on the power of a book. I read Daniel Goleman's Emotional Intelligence and Working with Emotional Intelligence. And I realized that nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. I discovered that if I was going to succeed, now let me tell you something about me. I am that kind of guy. I don't like going out. I am not really a social person, go out, interact, and do things like that. I love my own company. I love my books. I love staying in my house. I love staying in my study, with the exception of when I have to go out to work. Now, but when I read Daniel Goleman and Emotional Intelligence, I realized something, that if I was going to succeed the way I wanted to succeed, I had to relax on some of those things. All right? It wasn't easy, but I tried, and I think I'm trying a bit today. So the application is so crucial. I read the Blue Ocean Strategy that I talked about last week. And basically, they taught me something. All my life, I had been competition conscious. But when I read the Blue Ocean Strategy, I realized that was a very low level of thinking, to be competition conscious. That I needed to be driven by innovation, driven by creating a space that made it suicidal for competition to go. Now, that not only affected me, it affected the people I work for, So when I am driving and saying, guys, let's come around books, let's have conversations around books, it is because of things like that. I read General McChrystal, the Team of Teams, and I realized that education is not enough to make you relevant. They were the most educated, the most equipped, and yet they were failing consistently in Iraq because of certain things they did not take into consideration. And that's, now another thing, a good book is fertilizer for your mind. So when you read, all sorts of ideas begin to pop up. They begin to pop up, So that's why I want to challenge everybody. These are the 11 books we're looking at right now. I want to challenge everybody. Be here with me. Get a notebook. You don't want to miss the next session. Get a notebook and let's go through some of the things that I have learned from books over the years. God bless you.